Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone. Passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. Toyota launches its biggest safety recall ever. Fiat dumps MAGNA-STEYR. And a peek at some of the concept cars coming to the Tokyo Auto Show. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Wednesday, September 30th, 2009, and now the news. Toyota is facing a recall of over 3 million vehicles, its biggest recall ever in the American market, involving some of its most popular Lexus and Toyota vehicles. The recall involves floor mats, which can get caught on the gas pedal and force the car into full acceleration. A tragic accident in California earlier this month killed 4 family members whose Lexus hit 120 miles an hour before it crashed. One of the people in the car had called 911 saying the floor mat was caught under the accelerator. I've had this happen to me actually, and here's what you do. You push on the brake pedal. No matter how high the engine is revving, no matter how fast the car is going, the brakes will always bring the car to a stop. Now, if the mat is bunched under the brake pedal, put the car in neutral or turn the engine off. For now, Toyota is advising customers to remove the driver's floor mat. Fiat CEO Sergio Marchionne announced it will not renew a contract with MAGNA-STEYR to build Chrysler vehicles in Europe. According to the Wall Street Journal, production will move to Bertone, which Fiat purchased in August. Fiat will invest 150 million euros, nearly $220 million, in the plant over the next 3 years. Currently, Magna builds the 300C and Jeep Grand Cherokee for European markets. Chrysler also announced that its VP of Manufacturing, Frank Iwazishin, will go on temporary medical leave. He'll be replaced on an interim basis by Scott Garberding. The company also announced that Dan Knott will become the head of purchasing on an interim basis. And speaking of management shakeups, the Detroit News reports that GM's Executive Director of Global Vehicle Engineering for Hybrids, Electric Vehicles, and Batteries, Bob Cruz, has left the company. Cruz led a team that focused on testing, designing, and integrating the battery into the Volt, and he's also worked on GM's long-term EV strategy. He's leaving to start his own consulting company. Recently, Hyundai announced that the EQUUS is coming to the U.S. Now the automaker is building a stretched version of its flagship sedan. The stretch EQUUS gets an optional 5-liter V8 with 395 horsepower. Pricing starts at about $113,000, but the company says it is not coming to the U.S., even though it made sure that all the reporters here got pictures of the car. Even though many automakers have bowed out of this year's Tokyo Motor Show, there are still some interesting reveals planned for the event. Subaru will show off a concept called the Hybrid Tourer, which looks kind of like a minivan but with huge gull-wing doors. It features a hybrid electric drivetrain with a turbocharged boxer engine, 2 electric motors, and a lithium-ion battery pack. Honda has a handful of unveilings planned for the show too, and just like Subaru, it will show off a minivan-esque concept vehicle. The SKYDECK is a hybrid people mover with some weird doors. Inside, it offers an open, airy cabin with configurable seating. The tiny EVN concept looks an awful lot like an old Honda 600. It sports an electric drivetrain plus some wacky features. Seat fabric can be swapped, and the door panel has integrated storage for the company's U3X electric unicycle. Honda will also debut a third hybrid vehicle, the CR-Z hatchback. It should have a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder engine and possibly even a 6-speed manual transmission. Of all the company's reveals, this one looks the most production ready and actually looks like it might be fun to drive. Coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
And now it's time for some of your feedback. This is You Said It, which gives me a chance to respond to some of your questions and comments. A number of you saw our report on how Nissan is consulting with musicians to come up with a noise for its electric car, the Leaf, so that pedestrians can hear it coming. I made some snide remark that I want my electric car to sound like a 16-cylinder radial engine at redline, and we showed a clip of a B-17 firing up. That prompted several comments. Ken Staden wrote in to say, "Of course, by now you've probably been reminded ad nauseum that 4-stroke radial engines always have odd numbers of cylinders per row." Well, Ken, I gotta admit, I was not aware that radials only come with odd numbers of cylinders per row. And Tom Tyson wrote in to say the B-17 that was shown was powered by a Curtiss-Wright R1800 9-cylinder radial. You know, all I can say is I love the fact that our audience is so knowledgeable. And finally, Amera1 Cancer 2753 saw our report on how Hyundai is dropping V6 engines in the next generation Sonata, which comes out next year, and he asks, will the Hyundai Sonata have a 2-liter turbo like the Hyundai Genesis Coupe, or will it just have a high displacement 4-cylinder? You know, that's a good question, and Hyundai isn't saying, at least not yet, but it would make sense to offer a turbo as an option in the Sonata as a replacement for the V6. However, my test drive of the Genesis Coupe shows that that 2-liter turbo has some real NVH issues. And NVH is the industry jargon for noise, vibration, and harshness. And that's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.